Hello everybody, welcome back. I am Kate Rebel, this is Kate Rebel's Realm, and thank you so much for coming and seeing part 2 of the Esoterics. I had so much fun with part 1, please go watch it if you haven't yet. The stories were really good, better than I expected, honestly. They were very juicy, and I really want to make a world map. The thing is, some of the places and regions and religions and everything are like groups, which a lot of the time I think it's only with one hero, and then another hero story will involve that same religion or group or place. And I'm like, okay, so it's important, and now we know that those two people lived in the same town. I love that. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. So hey, let's get into part 2 of the Esoterics. We're starting with Ezrin, the Emerald Flame, a Scalekin healer dedicated to bringing healing and hope to the land of Taya. I really thought he was gonna be creepy, and he might still be creepy. Who's to say? That made him sound nice.
He burns for us. I would follow him anywhere.
Disciple of Ezrin. This man's got disciples? Weary of life, a Scalekin healer sought solitude in the barren dunes of the desert, yearning to live out his days alone. No matter how many he treated from affliction or mortal wound, he could not save Taya's inhabitants from the unforgiving world itself. But those destined for greatness cannot remain idle for long. This is the tale of Ezrin, the Emerald Flame. In his youth, Ezrin mastered the complexities of healing so much so that travelers would flock from all over to study beneath him. He became an unofficial shepherd, even taking on an ambitious apprentice named Zasha, whom he'd come to regard as son. While Ezrin was off foraging, a dragon known as Rattan Bar raised his village, burning his entire following alive and turning the land into a smoldering scar. His pain too much to bear, Ezrin retreated into seclusion. A year later, a knock came at the door of his isolated hermit hut. Zasha, his son apprentice, had survived. What's more, he'd been seeking Ezrin all this time. Overjoyed, elation turned to dread when Zasha pulled a shimmering gem from within his robe. Deep in the desert, there was rumored a hidden temple containing a stone of immense power, the Emerald Flame. An item was believed to possess great healing properties at the cost of its wielder's vitality. Zasha had discovered this artifact by chance, now pleading with Ezrin to help him activate it at their burnt village. It was rumored the Emerald Flame could revive the dead. Though Ezrin forbid the ritual, when he awoke the next morning, Zasha was gone. Setting off for the great scar of his former village, horror filled Ezrin's eyes as the sight before him. Zasha had energized the emerald, but its very flames were consuming him. The land around him revitalized, including the dead, but Zasha himself was in agony. Leaping between the gem and his apprentice, Ezrin took on the flames in an act of love, triggering a blinding flash seen across the continent. When the sand settled, all of Ezrin's former disciples, now wrenched from the graves, stood in disbelief. Before them rose Ezrin. Coated in viridescent fire, the Emerald Flame was born. While Ezrin's new form causes him constant pain, his otherworldly powers of healing are unparalleled throughout Taya. It became his resolve to suffer for the people, a true martyr amongst the dunes. Ezrin! That's so sad. The fact that he ran off to be a recluse, he was like, I thought I could do it, I can't, my life's over, I'm gonna go hide and study magic far, far away. But Zasha wasn't dead. But then Zasha wanted to help everybody because he was just like his dad, and oh my gosh. Comet. I really like Comet. I use him quite often. I still don't 100% know the best ways of using him yet, but he's a pretty good damage dealer, so I dig him. Pharaoh of Decay. A terror in his time, Comet's risen from the sand to curse enemies with ranged attacks, bouncing on kills. Fury beneath the dunes. To wander the desert is a dangerous feat in and of itself. But should you ever find yourself in the dominion of Comet, the Pharaoh of Decay, be warned that death is only the beginning. Comet was ruthless from the moment he ascended to the status of Pharaoh, claiming the seat on the throne to be his divine right. In his mind, he was a god, and therefore capable of taking the world by storm in any matter he deemed fitting. But when the borders of his kingdom came under constant duress from invading forces, his people began to question his self-proclaimed immortal power. Their doubts drove him mad, with even himself beginning to question his own divinity. With the threat of insurrection looming, the pharaoh pondered a course of action from the comfort of his opulent palace. A suggestion put forth by an advisor would ultimately prove his downfall. Legends told of a jinn sequestered in the heart of the desert. If Comet could survive a journey to discover it, he hoped to bend the jinn to his will. He walked alone for a fortnight as advised, nearly perishing at the hand of the unforgiving sun. With his last reserves of strength fleeting, the spectral jinn finally appeared. In a granting voice unlike any the pharaoh had ever heard, the jinn demanded to know what warranted its disturbance. With a booming, volatile voice, Comet demanded the jinn submit to him. Silence washed over the sand. Suddenly, the jinn's voice changed, its tone amused. Comet would be granted 3 wishes. Astonished by the ease at which the jinn relented, but nonetheless proud of himself, he listed the demands: godliness beyond doubt, the unquestioned loyalty of his people, and the strongest borders for his kingdom in all of Tyre. If the jinn had any facial features, it might have grinned. I shall make you a god, the likes of which none have ever seen, it said. Naive to the devious characteristics of the jinns, Comet was woefully unprepared for what was to come, for the pharaoh's wishes came with sinister caveats. Though immortality washed over him, he was transformed into an undead revenant so grotesque that no words could encompass his features. His people turned into hideous ghouls who would follow their pharaoh mindlessly. Finally, the borders of his kingdom were reinforced as demanded, to keep anyone from leaving. But the mischievous jinn underestimated the rage of the abomination he created. After crushing the deceitful spirit in its gnarled hands, Comet returned to the cursed city, to which he was now bound as a god of blood and sand. It is there he commands an army of walking nightmares to this very day. Is this the jinn skull, do you think, that he's holding? Make me a god, make sure everyone follows me and loves me, and make sure that my city's strong. And the jinn's like, you fool. You knucklehead man. Sure, I'll give everything to you. I love it. It's kind of crazy that he was able to kill the jinn. Also, I feel like if you kill a jinn, shouldn't all of the wishes and things that happen be reversed? I don't know if that's a thing, but that kind of makes sense in my brain. Okay, so I knew we had a Desome, but I didn't know who it was because I don't have them and we hadn't read their story yet. Desome, Dreamgiver, Seraphina's man, a mysterious alchemist with the ability to empower and rejuvenate those he deems worthy. I know that it didn't say anything in the story. It was just like he snuck into her tent and told her about her repressed memories. But I mean, like, I feel like maybe. He did say that he was dreaming about her wrapping him up. Dreamgiver. Meditating under the starlit desert sky, Desome sits between the worlds of reality and dreams, gifted with the rare knowledge of esoteric healing powers. To Desome, dreams are gifts from the spiritual realm through which blessings can be bestowed on the dreamer. While it is easy to dismiss this as mere Scalekin superstition, Desome is evidence of the true power of dreams, for they heal him of a devastating injury that left him crippled. As a young Scalekin of 20, Desome was hunting for desert elk when a great serpent burst from the sand and sent him hurtling into the air, snapping his spine agonizingly when he hit the ground. As is customary among Scalekin, he did not want to be a burden to his community and asked to be brought into the desert to die alone. He lay next to an oasis in anguish one night as he drifted between life and death. Oddly enough, the strange scent of rosy incense filled his nostrils and ushered him to sleep, where he encountered the powers of the dream world. His dream was so vivid that he was certain he was awake, and saw a beautiful woman whose face changed in strange patterns. At times, she was a Scalekin, others an elf or an orc. Mesmerized, she told him she was the Witch of Dreams and would help him walk again. He was certain this could not be, but after she insisted that he try, his feet moved. He began to walk, and finally run. She told him this was possible through the hidden powers of dreams, and that he and that he'd be able to run in his waking state if only he could channel them. Dosomi was skeptical but desperate enough to try anything. When he awoke, he realized he could feel a desert rat gnawing at his toe, believing him dead. He remembered the strange woman's words, got to his feet, and walked back to his home filled with surreal joy. Greeted as a miracle worker by his people, he now works to facilitate mystical dreaming through his blend of incense so that others may heal. Using his unique methods of inducing sleep through his somnolent incense, he is perhaps the most powerful healer of the Scalekin and dreams of using his ancient wisdom to heal the afflicted. Naturally, he is drawn to violent conflicts, for he wishes to experiment with his healing magic wherever possible. While Dosomi is kind and peaceful, others have concerns about the true intentions of the Witch of Dreams, for she is a mysterious figure. What motives does she possess for spreading the secrets of the dream world? Who's the Witch of Dreams? Is she here? I really hope that we get to read The Witch of Dreams. Trusk was in another story. They talked about you. See, Trusk, people talk about you. You're cool. The Thorn Bastion. Trusk's thunderous power turns his carapace into an indestructible shield, which also serves as his deadliest weapon. The Thorn Bastion. Bring more spears and a catapult. There's a giant lizard blocking the path. Masoon Lieutenant. Though not a warmongering people, Scalekin are not to be trifled with in combat, especially the large ones. The really large ones. Trusk, the Thorn Bastion, is as surly as they come, so good luck engaging in idle chat with this great leathery beast. But if it's protection you seek, there are none in Taya that can better hold the line. With the strength of 20 workhorses, Trusk got his start taking contracts as a beast of burden. He hauled wealthy families and their belongings across the continent, often accompanied by a group of mercenaries. On one such excursion, Trusk was hired to haul a wealthy family across a vast wasteland alongside a convoy of mercenaries. Before setting off, the youngest daughter of the family tugged on Trusk's leather saddle and asked him his name. None had ever cared to ask before. With a rare smile, he told the girl before loading her onto his back. In the heart of the desert, raiders struck hard and fast. At the first sign of trouble, the hired swords tucked their tails and ran, their use evidently more aesthetic than practical. From atop Trusk's back, the family cried out for help. Their youngest pleaded with him by name. Her voice struck a chord. Against his better judgment, Trusk barreled through the wasteland until he found a chasm of a suitable size. Barking at the family to climb down off his back, he situated himself directly in the chasm entrance, planted firmly between the family and the raiders. Trusk adopted the role of an impenetrable wall. Try as they might, the raiders could not move the determined Scalekin, who swatted away their spears like fragile kindling and squashed any who strayed too close. They gave up by dusk, and Trusk's legacy was cemented. When the dust had settled, the little girl who pleaded with him reached up and planted a soft kiss on his rough cheek. "You saved us," she said. And so he had. He just went and shoved himself into a wall, into like an archway, and was like, "You can't get past me." That's so cute. And he really liked that little girl. That was so cute. Like, someone asked Trusk's name? Trusk honored. Elowin, the meadow sage, the heart of the forest and most sacred healer, revitalizes allies, dispelling debuffs while preserving life. I am excited for this one because I actually got her very early on. I was lucky. I got a lot of the best heroes early on. I feel like I'm a pretty lucky person when it comes to this game. From the smallest seed. In the heart of an ancient forest, where sunlight trickled through the canopy of towering trees, there dwelled a remarkable woodland fae named Elowin. Unlike her kin, Elowin was blessed with a unique gift, an enchantment that bound her to the very essence of the forest itself. As a child, her skin took on a gentle, mossy hue, and her hair blossomed with vibrant flowers, echoing the beauty of the woodland flora. In time, she would come to be known as the Meadow Sage. Elowin's affinity with nature extended beyond mere communion. She could channel the life force of the forest, summoning its energy to heal wounds and nurture growth. Woodland creatures sought solace in her presence, and her touch revitalized wilting flowers and mended broken branches. The woodland fae revered her as a guardian of their sacred grove, an emissary between the immortal realm and the mystical domain of the trees. One moonlit eve, a dark shadow descended upon the forest, threatening to consume its vibrant spirit. An army of lumbering giants approached, their axes poised to decimate the ancient trees that had stood for centuries. Elwyn, fueled by a deep-rooted determination, vowed to protect her beloved home. She infused her body with the essence of the trees, allowing her limbs to stretch and intertwine with the ancient oaks. As the giants advanced, Elwyn emerged from the dense foliage, her figure now a magnificent amalgamation of fae and tree. Branches extended from her back, bearing sharp thorns that crackled with magical energy. She moved with the grace of a woodland spirit, effortlessly dodging the giants' blows and retaliating with precise strikes. With each swing of her limbs, the earth trembled, sending shockwaves through the ground that disoriented her opponents. Vines snaked around their massive legs, binding them in a web of living foliage. Elwyn's eyes now resembling pools of emerald leaves, glowing with determination as she commanded the forest's might to aid her in battle. The giants soon found themselves overwhelmed, their destructive intentions reduced to fragments of forgotten ambition. When the dust had settled, the woodland creatures approached their savior with tears of gratitude, nuzzling against her in a symphony of whispered thanks. Elwyn has remained at her post ever since, defending the tranquility of Taya's forests with her entire being. Elwyn, she's just the forest's mom. I know that there's the mother tree that they all worship and whatever, but I feel like she's the mother tree. And it's never specified that she's not, and it didn't specify that she was, and I was expecting it to. But I know that it probably just means the forest is mother or whatever, but I think she's mother. Venoma, snake blood empress. As venomous as the cobra she wields, the undead Venoma is back from the dead to curse anyone to cross her. Okay. I'm noticing a lot of pharaohs in this faction. I dig it. The cobra's kiss. It burns! I'm on fire! It burns! I'm on fire! Airy, scholar of the Esoteric order. In the swirling sands of Taya's history, amidst the whispers of arcane secrets and the shroud of mysticism, the tale of Venoma, the snake blood empress, caught the attention of the enigmatic Esoteric order. But for Airy, one of the order's most prized scholars, Venoma was more than just a distant story. She was an enigma to unravel, a puzzle of power and mystery waiting to be solved. Airy's days were consumed by the pursuit of knowledge, her nights illuminated by the flickering candles illuminating ancient tomes and forgotten scrolls. Amongst the dusty archives of the Order, she delved into the depths of Venoma's legend, piecing together fragments of truth from tangled myths. The tale spoke of a queen whose reign was marked by shadows and whispers, and whose cruelty was matched only by her mastery of serpentine sorcery. In fact, Venoma was infamous for executing her enemies by casting them into a pit of swirling vipers. But it was not mere curiosity that drove Airy. No, it was an insatiable hunger for understanding, a thirst for forbidden truths that lurked in the darkness of a bygone era. And so she ventured where others feared to tread, charting a course through the labyrinthine corridors of history in search of the elusive snake blood empress's resting place. It was in the ruins of Venoma's palace, swallowed by the relentless march of time, that Airy's journey reached its zenith. She brushed away the dust of centuries past. She uncovered a history long forgotten, whispers of power echoing through the halls of the abandoned fortress. Many believed that Venoma did not simply perish when her enemies overran her at last, but that she had her own life by drinking the venom of her prized cobra. What Ari came to realize was that the act transferred Venoma's soul into a serpent itself. Just as she uncovered the ancient secret, Ari's quest for knowledge led her to a fateful encounter with the very essence of Venoma's legend. Struck by the venomous bite of a cobra hidden amidst the rubble, she felt her body convulse with searing pain, her senses overwhelmed by a wave of darkness. And then, as if from the depths of a nightmare, she emerged reborn. No longer Aerie, vicious scholar, but Venoma, the embodiment of ancient wrath and forbidden magic. Centuries of slumber fell away like shackles, and she rose once more to claim her rightful place in the annals of history. Venoma, the snake-blood empress, had returned from the depths of oblivion, her spirit bound to coil of a serpent's embrace. She gazed upon the world with eyes that burned with the fire of new life. She knew that her reign had only just begun. Ew, so the snake is Venoma, and the body is Ari. Think about that for a minute. And I know that they combined and it became like a person and she like awoke as Venoma, but I feel like it's more like Venoma's the serpent, the viper. Ari is the lady. And now they're both Venoma. Okay, Cyrus, conqueror. Oh, why is this so bland? Conqueror, Cyrus, with mastery over the skeleton army. Cyrus vows to reclaim all that was lost. And that's all you need to know. That's all, folks. That's his story. The restless dead are haunted that which life denied them. Opening line of an old Akkadian ghost story. The great conqueror Cyrus is believed to have died on the battlefield. He perished far from his homeland during an ill-fated push to secure control over a small northern duchy. Following his death, his army scattered and his remains were lost, never to be returned to the kingdom he fought so adamantly to expand. Though only partially true, this origin offers an explanation for the conqueror's unyielding ambition. Long after his untimely death, Cyrus awoke as a spirit bound to serve the god of the netherworld. His feats in life had earned him a place among the god's warriors. Though Cyrus served loyalty for centuries, he grew more and more restless. Visiting the frozen plains where his life was lost and his legends cut short, Cyrus was filled with resentment. He had far more power in death than he had ever possessed as a mortal. Yet his enigmatic god showed no interest in expanding the domain of the netherworld. What was the use in possessing so much power if not to conquer? Why serve the lands of an uncaring god when there were still lands to be taken? Cyrus grew determined to use his second unnatural life to continue the work of his first. He imagined a grand necropolis spanning all of Tyre, a domain even greater than he had built before. But first, he would need to discover a way to unseat the god of the netherworld and assume his rightful throne. I like how that literally did just go conqueror. He literally went, this? You're not scared of this. You're not gonna let me conquer while I look like this. Summon my second undead life. Well, that was yet again another fun story time for you guys. I had fun. I am literally sweating to death. I have to have all the doors shut in order to make sure there's no sound coming in here. It helps, but it gets so sweaty in here because we have the lizard who has to have so much heat, and he has like heating pads and lamps and stuff, and then we have 2 lights and the computer, and it's like, whoa, whew. And I just have it like locked, like I'm locked in a tiny little room and I'm dying. Oh, what? But hey, thank you guys so much for watching the Esoterics. Wow, I had so much fun. We are now done. Oh my god. I know that we're not done because I know I have other videos coming for you guys. But we're done. We're doing the Esoterics, and then there's 2 heroes in the K... Oh, wait, what? Do we have arbiters? Oh, yeah. We have 2 in the Chaos Dominion that weren't in other factions that we haven't done yet, so that will be after. And then we just have Praetus. We've done everybody. We'll be done the storytime lore of the different factions so soon. Oh my gosh, you guys, thank you so much for watching these. I've super appreciated it. I hope it helped. I hope you enjoyed. We're not quite done yet, so I'm not going to do my little send-off, but I just realized that, wow, we are basically done. The only story that I haven't read is Praetus, personally. I haven't filmed that one yet. It's the only one. That's insane. Wow. Well, there will be new heroes to come, new stories to tell, new lore to dive into, but until then, thank you so much for joining for the Esoterics. I'm Kate Rebel. This is Kate Rebel's Realm, and I will see you guys next time. Aurora Borealis? Located within your kitchen? Bouncing. Oh, crikey.
I request knowledge.
For mother.
Ooh.
I don't trust you. We gotta make a pact. Spit shake on it, bro.
The preservation of life.